Greetings from the General Board of Church and Society of the United Methodist Church. My name is Laura Kigueva James. I am the Program Coordinator for Grassroots Organizing.
And my name is John Hill. I serve as the Deputy General Secretary with the Board of Church and Society.
As the General Board of Church and Society, we are committed to equipping all United Methodists to live our faith, to seek justice, and pursue peace. Our commitment to faith, justice, and peace is deeply connected to our responsibility to care for creation. As United Methodists, we believe that all of God's creation is to be valued and conserved. As the church, we live out this value through our organizing and advocacy. In our organizing, our connectional identity as a church provides us with opportunities to mobilize throughout our United Methodist body. GBCS supports spaces like the United Methodist Creation Justice Movement, which includes United Methodist agencies, organizations, and local churches in the US and abroad, where we collectively work together to create change. We also work throughout our global church to support efforts for climate justice responses in countries like Nigeria, the Philippines, Zimbabwe, and others. Another opportunity we organize at Church and Society is through our coalitions and partnerships. As the church, we recognize that climate injustice impacts everything, and to address it, we need a whole of a community response that is led by and with Black, Indigenous, and communities of color, climate leaders, and organizations to bring about collective change. We are a member of the U.S. Climate Action Network, and this collaboration equips us to work with and center voices and actions of communities of color in the U.S. and around the world. We also partner with organizations like the Creation Justice Ministry to build with ecumenical climate leaders. All of these relationships strengthen our commitment to seek justice and care for God's creation as God has called us to.
And it is through the relationships that Laura has named, relationships in community, ecumenical, and interfaith, that really inform and equip us to engage in advocacy. I'm standing here in Simpson Memorial Chapel in the United Methodist Building. This is a space that since 1923 has served as a place of prayer, of witness, and of advocacy in Washington, D.C. It sits directly across from the Supreme Court and the U.S. Capitol. We also have an office at the United Nations, directly across from the UN at the Church Center. In each of these spaces, we live out our Methodist tradition of engaging in advocacy. We understand that as United Methodists, we're called to live out personal, social, and civic righteousness. That as we seek to align our own lives with the will of God, as we seek to live out our faith in community with our neighbors, our family, and in our churches, we must also engage in those systems that are preventing our vision of justice and peace for the world from being realized, systems that too often exploit and oppress. I know that we are in a season of the election in the United States right now at all levels of government, and in many ways, this is a season of anticipation. For us, it's also a season of preparation, for we realize that our work in some ways begins when those officials take office, and we need to be prepared to hold them accountable to addressing the urgent and intersecting injustices that are facing our communities today. At Church and Society, we have a number of tools that we would invite you to look through and use. They're available on our website, www.umcjustice.org. I would lift up our Civic Engagement Toolkit. For many folks, advocacy can inspire some anxiety, and we want to make sure that you are equipped to raise your voice with your elected officials and other decision makers. And so we prepared this toolkit so that you understand how you might call your members of Congress, how you might write a letter to the editor, how you might engage in social media advocacy. All of our voices are important in this moment, and we are grateful for the work and ministry that you are doing now, and we look forward to partnering with you together as we seek justice for God's people and God's planet.